Hello, I'm glad you're here. I'm NatsMan, and I'm reading the Bible, from the beginning to the end, from Genesis to Revelations. Please join me in this journey and make God's Word a part of your everyday life. Please hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified every time that I post a new video and you won't miss any parts of this Bible read. This is the recap summary of the book of Mark, and we will just jump right in. The Gospel of Mark is the shortest and most fast-paced of the four Gospels. Often described as the action gospel, Mark writes with urgency, using words like immediately to move the story of Jesus forward. His purpose is clear: to show that Jesus is the Son of God, who came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Mark 10:45. Mark, also known as John Mark, was a close companion of Peter. Most scholars believe Mark's gospel captures Peter's eyewitness preaching. Written primarily for a Roman audience, it emphasizes power, action, authority, and service, and themes that would resonate with the Roman world. The overarching picture is that Jesus is the authoritative Son of God, the suffering servant, and the promised Messiah. Mark does not begin with genealogy or the birth of Jesus. Instead, he jumps straight to the ministry of John the Baptist and the baptism of Jesus, immediately pulling the reader into the mission. In chapters 1 through 3, it shows the authority of Jesus. Mark begins with Jesus' baptism and temptation, and then he launches into ministry with astonishing authority. He calls his disciples with a simple, powerful command: follow me. Jesus teaches with authority, he heals with authority, and he commands demons with authority. Crowds are amazed, demons tremble, and religious leaders grow anxious. Already, conflict is forming between Jesus and the Pharisees as he heals on the Sabbath and forgives sins, which are actions that point to his divine identity. In chapters 4 through 5, we see power over every realm. Mark then presents Jesus' unmatched power, his power over nature when Jesus calms the storm, his power over demons as he frees the man possessed by a legion of demons, his power over disease when he heals the woman with the issue of blood, his power over death as he heals Jairus' daughter. Mark shows Jesus is not just a teacher, but a king whose authority reaches every corner of human existence. In chapters 6 through 8, we see a growing ministry and growing opposition. Jesus sends out the 12 to preach and heal. Miracles multiply. He feeds the 5,000. He walks on water, and he heals multitudes. But so does resistance grow too. The religious leaders question him. The crowds misunderstand him. Even the disciples struggle to grasp who he really is. The turning point comes in chapter 8 when Jesus asks the essential question: who do you say that I am? And Peter answers, you are the Christ. Yet immediately Jesus explains that the Messiah must suffer, must be rejected and die. The disciples cannot fathom it. Mark shows that understanding Jesus requires seeing both his power and his purpose. In chapters 9 and 10, the road to the cross, Jesus heads toward Jerusalem. He begins to prepare the disciples for what awaits. He teaches them about humility, true greatness, and the cost of following him. 3 times Jesus predicts his suffering and resurrection, and each time the disciples misunderstand, and Jesus calls them back to servanthood. The key verse of the gospel appears here, for even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Mark 10:45. The king is not enthroned by force, but through sacrifice. In chapters 11 through 13, we see a conflict in Jerusalem. Jesus enters Jerusalem triumphantly, but the tension escalates quickly. He cleanses the temple, debates the religious leaders, and warns that judgment is coming. Mark includes Jesus' teaching about the end times, emphasizing watchfulness, endurance, and faithfulness. The religious leaders plot his death, setting the stage for the final act. In chapters 14 and 15, he's the suffering servant. These chapters reveal the heart of God of Mark's gospel. Jesus celebrates Passover with his disciples, institutes the Lord's Supper, and enters Gethsemane in deep agony. He is betrayed by Judas, abandoned by his disciples, denied by Peter, unjustly tried, beaten, mocked, and handed over to be crucified. Mark emphasizes the loneliness of Jesus, deserted by friends, misunderstood by crowds, mocked by soldiers, and even feeling forsaken as he cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Yet even at the cross, the truth shines through. A Roman centurion declares, "Truly this man was the Son of God." The very people Mark's gospel is written for recognize Jesus' identity. In chapter 16, the resurrection, Mark ends abruptly compared to the other gospels. The woman discovers the empty tomb, and the angel declares, "He is risen, he is not here." The early, shorter ending of Mark concludes with the women trembling and amazed, inviting readers to respond with faith and proclamation. Later manuscripts include extra verses describing Jesus' appearance and the Great Commission. The key takeaways from Mark are that Jesus is the authoritative Son of God. He commands storms, demons, disease, and death. Jesus is the suffering servant. He came to give his life for sinners. Discipleship means following the path of the cross, humility, service, and sacrifice. Faith in Jesus requires action. Mark's gospel is a call to respond, not just observe. And the resurrection is the final proof that Jesus is the Messiah and King. That is the recap summary of the book of Mark. I want to thank you for joining me in this project, in this endeavor to read the entire Bible. I hope you enjoy listening to it as much as I enjoy reading it. Please feel free to comment if you'd like, and also please subscribe and give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If this is your first visit to NatsMan Reads the Bible, I leave a link in the description below to the intro video that explains what it is I'm working to accomplish here. I hope you come back for the next video, which will be video number 411, starting with the first chapter of the book of Luke. Until then, thank you. I hope you have a blessed day. I'm NatsMan, and I'm out.